recording it. Let's go on here. Right, here we go.
Good morning, Neil.
I look funny. Thank you very much. Right, here we go. Wednesday. Those of you who did our, some more people coming in. Megan, is you're watching Liverpool slightly different to the time in London? Because 7:50 in London is 7:50, and you're always about a minute or two late. Anyway, just saying, there's Liverpool. We'll go. So those of you who tuned in yesterday, and especially to Mr. Powell's speech at 3 o'clock, realise how boring watching paint dry is. However, he did say one or two things that we did earlier say that he would say, whatever it takes. He refused to mention any word of tapering, and obviously refused to mention any word of inflation and anything else. Hence, we saw the markets somewhat rally. And from being 300 down, looking at our face, we saw a massive rally coming up until Tuesday evening and everything else. However, those of you who are of Mr. Powell, it's called the Humphrey Hawkins report. He says the same today as he did.
Good morning, Dale.
Morning, Daniel, to the not the Senate, but to the Finance Committee, who are basically younger people. Those of you who watched it yesterday live on the telly saw that most of the senators who spoke to him were probably slightly older than me. And it normally is the first day the older men come in, and the second day the younger people come in. So it'll be interesting the questions they ask him today. Remember, he didn't sit down at 3:10, and the meat on the bone wasn't until about 4 o'clock. And I think he stopped speaking about 6 o'clock. So it's a long old day. Going in overnight quickly, we'll go in the news overnight. Biden is starting to have a spat with China. That's affecting the markets, to keep yourself aware of that. The pound, we mentioned that before, about how the rumours in the Daily Telegraph is that Boris Johnson may open the lockdown slightly earlier than June the 21st. And obviously, the pound's up to 141, reaching the levels we had before the vote at $1.43. In a way, there's no reason to sell the cable at the moment, but keep your eyes on any new news on lockdowns. Basically, because as we've seen, the vaccines and the state of Europe are slightly worse than the UK. I think they won't get all their population vaccinated until the autumn, and we're looking probably 3 or 4 months before that. Hence why the cable's having a big rally, from where we were 4 or 5 months ago. The US relief bill, which people mentioned about, the COVID bill, only 1.9 trillion. It's going to be voted for on Friday. That's only for the lower house, and that vote will start at 2:30 p.m. And those who aren't used to it, they go to one box to vote yes and one box to vote no. So it takes about 90 minutes to come in. There's also a leak coming out from the UK budget, which is next week, the 1st of March. Mr. Sunak will extend the stamp duty until June, and rumours he will extend the furlough scheme until the end of June. And at the end of June, obviously, lockdown, I think, being the 21st of June, they'll probably step in line as we go. Again, one of the reasons why the DAX rate, those who this morning were in there, I think she was in there early on, and we managed to buy some DAX on the GDP being 0.3, better than 0.1, and the German private consumption, again, 3.3. That came out slightly later. I think pushed the market higher. Out today, we just at the GDP, we have a plethora, I think it's the right word, plethora, tell me if I'm wrong. At 12 o'clock, we have Mr. Haldane, number 2 at the Bank of England. He's a hawk, so you may see something when he speaks at 12, pushing the cable higher. Hawk is that he wants interest rates to go higher. Followed by 2:30, they're all talking at the Parliament Treasury Committee, which starts, I think, at 2 o'clock. We've got Mr. Bailey, Chairman of the Bank of England, Mr. Broadbent, Lil Jane, and Haskell. They are all want, in theory, negative rates. So obviously at 12 o'clock, Haldane will probably talk about obviously inflation growing, and therefore the need to keep your eyes on that inflation, and therefore the best way to combat inflation is to raise rates. So obviously your eyes will be on the gilts, those who understand short-term interest rates, short sterling, and probably the cable. No need to look at looking at inflation and interest rates to look at the FTSE. 3 o'clock, new home sales, not great. Mr. Powell, part 2 at 3 o'clock. Brainard and Clarissa speak at 5:30 and 6 o'clock. They're also dull, very much like Powell. We'll talk about keeping things on track, no taper, no nothing else, more QE. Whack on over here. Hope you can see over here. We do have, I know Mike's new here. We do have we look at certain indices at 8 o'clock. Recently, if you look at the FTSE, however, we're going to look at the DAX. Those of you new can look at the DAX and Eurostocks. They are the indices coming out. The only reason we're going to look at that is obviously the two things that came out at 7 o'clock were better than expected. Not a lot better, but remember, we have seen some very violent moves on the DAX at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8 till 9 o'clock. We suddenly see that DAX move 80 to 200 ticks. Basically, the move in the DAX, or 60% of it, is normally done in the first hour. Those of you new on here, look at the right-hand side. O and P, obviously, O is 7 o'clock to 7:30, and P is 7:30 to 8, and those are even newer. Q is the one yesterday. If you look at the one yesterday, if we've got time quickly, we've got a couple of minutes. We look at Q yesterday. If we look at here, the Q at the top here, this was at 8 o'clock. At 8 o'clock, the news came out basically that the vaccines were going to be in short supply, and obviously the rumours of some of the German debt. The Q here, we basically fell from almost 14,000 at 8 o'clock, and we carried on going down. When we see these single prints here, Q, that sooner or later we're saying here, because this is almost like 100 ticks. If we're trading on price action, and obviously there was no real news that came out then, we have to realise that sooner or later, this is fast. We very rarely get single prints. When we do, it's obviously something seriously happened, and news events come out, or someone out there on the supply and demand has got more to get rid of than the market cares to hold. So down to here, the Q that always came down here and was carried on the R, sooner or later here, we must, as punters, realise that there was a serious seller in the market. And because you'd have thought sooner along these lines, between this is 8 o'clock to 8:30, someone's going to step in and say, that's gone down far enough. And it didn't. We had one of the biggest falls in the morning for possibly 4 to 5 months. It broke a lot of technical levels and everything else. So we'll remember that, those of you, when you see single prints, yeah, you tend to go with the single prints. That Q, every time it trades higher or lower, Q will be put down. And then obviously at 8:30, we go to R, then S, then T, then U. So those of you who aren't aware of how we do market profile, there's a nice simple video out there for you to understand. Even I understand it. So we go back to today, we're going to look at the DAX. Those of you who want to look at the FTSE, you can. But I think on the news, we've had all Eurostocks. Remember, Eurostocks are top 50 shares, of which quite a few of the DAX are in it. Those of you who are relatively newer, maybe trade the Eurostocks. Those of you who are in here, I think, what's the spread? Imran, you're there. What we said? It's 4.5 Eurostocks to DAX, isn't it? Or 9.
Yes, 192, yeah.
That's it. So those of you can do that, can trade that way. So we've got the DAX coming here. We do expect that to rally. Yeah, because of the 0.3% of GDP, which is the biggest figure, gross domestic product, consumption plus investment plus government minus imports on exports. So we might get a slight rally into the 8 o'clock, and then the market will still see itself out. I don't think Powell said enough. He basically said whatever he had to say. Yeah, and that went through it. So we wait and see. Again, those of you aware, we wait and see the price action. Again, if there's more sellers in the camp, it will push the market down because they're just selling at any price, and vice versa, there's any buyers. See where we've rallied through over here from 7 o'clock when the figure came out. So we're already up 50 ticks from the opening. Those of you who are new, and Mike's new, the reason we look at the cash markets because at 8 o'clock, all the European exchanges open. So therefore, you can hedge your Mercedes, your HSBC, your Shell, from the UK stock market to the German stock market, the French stock market, all the way around. So we tend to get a big move at 8 o'clock, as we do at 2:30 when Wall Street opens. That's why we come in, and that's why we have this meeting. And no surprise, like we said, coming in here, we've seen that market move 10, 15 ticks. We do 10 in reality. Sometimes the DAX is so quick, so volatile to see, what is it, 50, 60 ticks in the first 6 minutes. As we saw yesterday, it was a ridiculous, what do we say, 150 ticks, straight line, scary really. And obviously Wall Street was exactly the same at 2:30. Yeah. So again, we'll have a look at see what's there. We've got the high value and low value. So in theory, if you look over here for the POC for those who aren't new, point of control, we've got it around about 41, which is here. So in theory, as we said, we did expect buying it in the DAX to come in there on those figures alone. Yeah, and no surprise, we had seen a bit of buying in there, but I wouldn't say it was as clear as the selling was yesterday. But there we are. What was it? 20 ticks, 25 ticks, an easy scalp. I'm going to quickly go over to the FTSE because we've got all those markets open. I know some people like FTSE. The FTSE, I think, again at 8 o'clock was in a way more 16 ticks, wasn't it? Did anyone manage to get on the FTSE there this morning?
No, yeah, about 15.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
The great thing is that the great thing now is that we're seeing these moves in the market and we're anticipating the moves because of the news that's come out. All the emails that we came out, with the Civic Budget League, extending stamp duty, the furlough scheme, it's all very positive to the FTSE. And as we said in the DAX, that was basically on the private consumption number being 3.3 in the GDP. What we'll find out now, because remember, we're only 3 minutes into the opening, we've had a fairly decent move, and those of you who nicked 15, 20 ticks, great start to the day. Yeah, keeps you on your straight and narrow. And in theory, again, those of you who trade yesterday, one of the easiest things to do yesterday was to make the money in the morning. If you're probably like me, I gave most of it back in the afternoon. Yeah, the easy bit's keeping it. Yeah. The easy bit's
Didn't want
making
it.
the hard bit's keeping it. Sorry. So again, although Powell was speaking, the market was very whippy yesterday afternoon, and I managed to give probably 70% of my money back that I made in the morning, and therefore I think looking at those of you who do trade, we shouldn't really be trading more than about 5 or 6 times in a day. Yeah, the opportunity was there to be long on the open indices there, which we have been. Yeah, but now, you think how far do you take your profits? We said the DAX really 50, 60 ticks. It's fairly normal, and in the FTSE, remember 20, 30 ticks in the FTSE as such is good as well, because percentage-wise in the DAX, what do you say? 140 ticks, the DAX is 1%. 66 ticks in the FTSE is 1%. So 30 ticks to 70 ticks is fine. Again, we're seeing the DAX push on, and it's interesting. Like, why did the DAX do that before 8 o'clock? Why didn't the FTSE do that before 8 o'clock? Because we know the cash market opens, and we know how important the cash market opens is, because so many people are enabled to play, so to speak. Okay, other one on there. I think today again will probably be a heads up for the Bank of England again at 12 o'clock, Hildane, and followed on by Bailey and all those Bank of England people talking. I think today or tomorrow is the last day that the Fed members can talk, and obviously Brainard, Powell, and Clarida will be talking later this afternoon. Remember, they have their blackout for 10 days before their Fed meeting in is it the first week of March, and then obviously the ECB. Again, I think the emails that were sent out this morning, there's not a lot of figures coming out. However, as we've seen in the DAX at the moment, we have seen, was it 50, 60 ticks? So the homework worked. I mean, in theory, if we look at the market profile, hopefully it's up and working today. It's all a bit slow on the queue as such. If you're trading on market profile gains, we see it over here. We basically opened very near the point of control, and we've basically gone up in a straight line. It's the opposite of yesterday. Yesterday, the queue went the other way, straight down. So in theory, if we did bite the opening, which is bang on the point of control here, our stops would have been probably 5, 6 below that, and there's been no reason on this queue to get out. And the queue will stay here until 8:30, and then we go to an R. So as long as we keep going higher, in theory, we stay in the price. So we should, the view to, if you were long, you stay in there. If you were short, you should have stopped yourself out. Yours was long. Someone's crowing in the office. Yeah, he's doing his lap of honour. A bit early, 8:06. You're going to be substituted off with a trophy. The same thing. That's why we love market profile, because here, it tells you, A, done your homework, and obviously it's single print. It tells you that it has gone up almost in a straight line, but also it's telling you to stay in the trade. Yeah, one of the hardest things we've asked for everyone here is, when do you get out your profits? How long is that piece of string? Yeah, yesterday that piece of string was 150 ticks. Currently in the DAX at the moment, what we're looking at, 60 ticks. What a great start to the day. Yeah. All right. So hopefully that helped. Hopefully some of you got onto that, because I think that's fairly clear. And we'll have a quick look over the FTSE to see what that's done. And that also, not as much. We've got a red candle in here coming on the 5 minutes. So that hit probably the what did we get up to? 07. Again, it's normally easier to see a direction the DAX, because it is so violent. Up here, of course, we go up to 11. Let's go back to where we were at 8 o'clock. So we've had basically 65 tick rally, 0.5%. What did we say? 70, 80 ticks. So in theory, again, on the candles there, what the green, in theory, there was no reason to get out your trade. People obviously have got out because, you know what, as day traders, we're not even day traders. I think Mike asked me the other day, are we day traders? I don't think we're hourly traders. Currently, we're 8 minutes past the trade. Are we 8-minute traders? No, 60 ticks. It's fairly impressive. That's about as long as it takes Charlie to run 100 meters, isn't it? Daniel, you bought the DAX at the opening. How much money did you take out of it?
And I took out £41 profit.
Really? That's a fantastic profit, yeah? You pleased with that?
Yes.
The one question I'm going to ask you now, because you're on there, yeah? Could you have taken more money out of it? We spoke about, Daniel's one of our ones we're doing one-to-ones with, and the same thing we're saying at the moment here, and the lesson learned to you, if you just go in the minimal amount, 50p, £1, £2, yeah, when you want to get out your trade, you're out your trade. What we try and ask you to do is to trade 2 trades. You buy one and you buy another one, so you can get half your trade halfway up, and therefore it allows you to run your other one, yeah, further. So, like Daniel, if you did your multiples that we talked about yesterday, and of course, yeah, and you did 1 and 1, you get out of one now for say 40 ticks. The other one you could run and move your stop higher and higher. So that's why I know Imran there is on to it, and a few of the others. Trading multiples on the open is so important, because therefore the other one at the moment you'd still be long, because on the market profile to the right is telling you shouldn't get out. However, as day traders, everything else, we're here to make money. So Daniel, a great start to you, making £40 on the board. Yeah.
Bravo.
That should pay for your lunch. Yeah. Anyone who knows Daniel, every time we do 2 one-to-ones, you're always eating. Not that's a bad thing. Yeah. Right. I hope you enjoyed it, because that was a good opening there. Bianca, did you do anything on there?
No, I got carried away making tea. Missed it.
Got some biscuits and anything else. You might join up.
No, I even forgot to make the tea, so it's still in the kettle, waiting for me to.
Anyway.
I missed this whole morning. I woke up too late for this.
Well, in theory, you were quite good, because you ran your DAX, your Nasdaq short yesterday. So
yeah, and I went long in the middle of the night as well at about 4 o'clock. So I have got a trade in place on Nasdaq and Dow Jones.
Are you long?
Yeah, I did go long. Yes.
That's why you got up late today, because you woke up at 4 o'clock this morning. Not that.
Yeah.
I want to pry. Right. Okay. Catch us on the discussion group, everyone. Also, those of you who got one-to-ones, we'll go through it at 8:30. Okay.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, Neil.
Neil,
Do you mind about that video you talked about for the market profile? There's a simple group video.
I will send it to you.
All right, thank you.
Neil,
Yes.
it's Mike. How do I get an email down to you?
Are you on the Telegram group yet?
Yes, I am. Yeah,
Okay, ping that over to me, and I'll ping you over the email.
no problem.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Bye.